Go.
Hey, all my worthy viewers and Fleming Film Show fanatics. It's me, JD Review Master, and this is the Fleming Film Show. And I'm here to talk about some great movies, and we're going to count down a topic. And here to talk about that topic, and he'll introduce it, is the host of the show. It's Robbie Fleming.
Yay. Hello, Justin. Hi, guys. I'm Robbie Fleming, and today we are going to be talking about films about Hollywood. I thought of this subject because Justin's in LA and he loves Hollywood just as much as I do, even though it's an absolute horrible and terrible place. But we love movies about it, and we're going to talk about them.
That's right. Yeah. I'm in the industry myself, acting and as assistant directing, stuff like that, producing. So I love this. It's the reason why I think that I was born. It's the reason why I think I was put on this earth, is to be a part of the movie industry in some way, shape, or form. And so I love talking movies, but I love talking movies about Hollywood as well.
Yes, that's the same as me, but because I live in England in a random village town in Warwickshire, I just had to do the best thing I could. So I became a film reviewer, and then I got a job in the cinema.
That's right. And there's still a lot of production going on over there. So I'm sure if you wanted to, you can stumble your way upon a set one day.
Funnily enough,
Yeah.
we did actually used to have, I don't know whether they're still in business, but we had a production company that mainly dealt with children's TV shows.
Oh, interesting. Cool. And you work at a cinema there. What's been some of the big movies playing?
We have Belfast and Nightmare Alley coming out. I'll talk about them just a little bit later. But right now, I just want to talk about these Hollywood movies. Since you started last time, do you mind if I kick things off?
Hit it.
All right, my number 5 is a movie we have spoken about quite a lot. It's a musical, and it's probably one of the most recent musicals that I've fallen in love with, and probably the reason why I love the genre so much. And then obviously meeting you, and you love musicals, and you've introduced me to more and stuff. But I'm going to kick things off with my number 5 and go with Damien Chazelle's La La Land.
Well, it's my number 4. So I think we shall talk about it together.
Yes, great idea.
Yeah, this movie came out in 2016 and almost won Best Picture. It said that they won, but then Moonlight actually ended up winning. So this to me is an actual, like, real life true story to what happens in Hollywood. Maybe not the singing and dancing, but the relationships that you have. Like, these two people, they're in the entertainment industry, but the paths are separate. And you meet some people, and sometimes it's just for now. You fall in love and you think that it's going to be forever, and sometimes it's just for now. And maybe you guys just met at the wrong time. But really, what's at the head here is all of the beautiful LA landscapes, great set designs in this, of course, great musical numbers. I mean, they, in the opening, they dance on a freaking freeway, which was hilarious because
My
what had
favorite
happened there.
opening musical number ever.
Especially because it's hot and it's Another Day of Sun is the name of the song, and then it says that for the credit it says winter. So really, really funny because that's definitely LA weather. But yeah, they were building a new ramp on a freeway, and actually that's how they were able to film that, is because it was still being built. There wasn't any active traffic going on that ramp there. But very, very practical and very, very smart. What's one of your favorite Hollywood moments in this film?
I know it's weird because I mainly like to focus more on the jazz element of the movie, but the Hollywood movie is very, very interesting because you see how Mia, who's Emma Stone's character, is trying to rise to the ranks of Hollywood.
Yeah, so she works at a lot as a barista. She works on a lot
Yes.
as a barista. So she sees actors and actresses come in all the time, and she wants to be that. So yeah, there's the struggle of being an actor and actress. She goes to auditions and literally gets walked in on during her audition. Like, that happens in real life. It's happened to me. It's happened to thousands of other actors out there.
Even some of the greatest ones.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, maybe not anymore, but to these greatest ones when they have to audition, if they have to audition, but definitely towards the beginning. And nowadays with COVID, we're doing a lot of at-home auditioning, so
Yeah,
it's a
I can
little.
imagine to Skype and Zoom exists now. That's how we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. And it can sometimes you just want to be in the room with the people to feel the energy, so it's a little bit difficult. But anyways, this movie is beautiful. Totally right. One of the better musicals that's come out in the last few years, in the last 10 years, let's say. Uh, the love that they have is amazing. And one of my best friends really dislikes this movie because of the ending. And he wanted the bow and the gift, it's like sometimes not all stories have to end that way. And you know what? They're both happy. Just because they don't end up together doesn't mean that they're not happy. They're both happy in their worlds that they're
Well,
living. So
yeah, and obviously I've experienced breakup recently, and obviously it's realistic.
absolutely, it's life. It happens. It's the way things are. But I do think that this is a brilliant movie. Really, really good actors, even though they're not like perfect singers or anything. But again, I think
Yeah,
that's just sort of like
I
real.
think
That's
out
just
the two of
realism.
them, Ryan is the better because he actually has a singing career.
Yeah, well, she's so charismatic, and you kind of just enjoy it, even though it's not the best. But and that raspy
At
thing
least
really
they're
helps too.
better than Russell Crowe and Les Mis.
You said it, brother. You said it. Yeah, this is a beautiful film. It just craps out Hollywood and LA, so it's definitely a good pick for both of us to have on our list. Your number
Well,
five, my number four.
well, it's just based on my past relationship about the Hollywood and singing and dancing.
Yeah, exactly. But you should sing and dance more, and then maybe it'll help get over the breakup.
And maybe find another lady.
Oh, there you go. There we go. That's the way. It is the best way sometimes is just to move on to somebody else because
Yeah, exactly.
it's it's the only way that you'll truly know that you're over the person that you were with
And
before.
Mia moved on. She was married and she had a daughter.
Who was? Oh, I was like your girlfriend.
No, it hasn't been 5 years yet.
Yes, she did. She got a husband and she had a kid. She's very happy. And yeah, he got what he wanted to. So there's that. La La Land.
Yes. So what's your number five?
Okay, so my number five, we're gonna take this back a few years. It's probably one of the first ones, maybe that ever came out about Hollywood. I don't even know. I didn't see this movie until I was an adult, and I think that's smart because I would maybe not have been interested in it. I obviously wasn't interested in it growing up. I don't remember like my dad having this on or not. But this movie does garner one of the best ever sayings in any movie. One that's so quotable, one that's been around for decades. I'm ready for my close up, Mr. DeMille. This is Sunset Boulevard, 1950s Sunset Boulevard, directed by Billy Wilder. What an amazing film this is. It is most.
It's one of the best movies for its time.
Yeah, absolutely. Nominated for 11 Oscars, only winning two. Well, it's still pretty good. It won for screenplay and art direction, and
I would
that's
have
what I
gave
want to
it
talk
them
about this.
too. I wouldn't. I would have gave it them too. To be fair.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously nominated for director, picture, actor, actress, supporting actors, actress. So yeah, that's what I want to say though. It won for best art direction because whereas La La Land was really practical, this one was more inside studios. They created lavish housings and sets. The
Let's
on
not
set and they're
forget
building
the
sets.
performances from Bill Holden and Gloria Swanson. Them two practically stole the show.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I was going to get to them in a second, but yeah. So this is more of real Hollywood back in the day, meaning not practical, but you're building sets inside studios. This was a time where I actually really wished that it was still around, but where you got contracted with studios and you only were allowed to do movies with them. and that's what
Oh,
was
that
going on
brings me
here.
to a good point. I used to play this game on the PC called The Movies, and you literally were a movie studio and you had to sign your own actors, directors, and make your own lot.
Yeah, exactly. What a cool game. So yeah, you were contracted by these studios, and you're only allowed to work under the studio. So right now, for instance, what's going on is like Adam Sandler couldn't be in the Transformania movie because that was an Amazon Prime vehicle where he's contracted under Netflix right now. So
Yes.
he couldn't
Yes.
be in that
That's
fourth
why
one. So that's
it
sort of
came on to Netflix here.
yeah, he's more on the Netflix. Like I know he's working on Murder Mystery 2 right now. But yes, let's talk about Gloria Swanson, one of the craziest characters. I
Yes.
mean, it has to. I mean, this has to be how Hollywood starlets were and Hollywood men were.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
this is how they acted and reacted. They thought they were bigger than life. Sometimes some actors think that they are now, and it's she's she's trying to get back to her stardom and her fandom that she's had because she is getting a little bit older. But I just think this was a brilliant, brilliant film. You know, black and white,
Yeah.
and it's just super, super smart for its time, like you said, like a
Yes.
fantastic, fantastic film. But yeah, that was my number five, just because I think it's a brilliant, brilliant film. And yeah, the oldest in my five movies, Sunset
Nice.
Boulevard.
Nice. It is in my honorable mentions, and again, it's the oldest in my honorable mentions. And I watched this movie last year for the first time. I enjoyed it quite a lot, but it was more the performances that stood out to me because let's just face it, Bill and Gloria were the two best we had at the time. And I don't know why, but I could see if they made this movie and now Meryl would play Gloria's character.
Oh, that'd be good. Just real quick, the budget was 1.75 million and only made $300,000.
I'm
So
assuming
that's a
movies
huge,
weren't as like watched as much as they are now because they didn't have like streaming services and DVDs back then.
exactly, yeah. And yeah, movie tickets cost a lot less back then.
Yeah, as that too.
Okay, what's your number four?
My number four, right? It's not an old movie, but it's made to look like an old movie. This film is about making one of the finest Hollywood classics. The movie they are making in this movie is Citizen Kane. The focus isn't on Orson Welles, it's on a man called Herman J. Mankiewicz, and it's David Fincher's Mank.
Yes, 2020's Mank. Well, tell me about it.
This was one of my favourite films of 2020 because there wasn't many films in 2020, but Mank really took me by surprise. I just thought it was just going to be this boring, like movie, and I didn't think I'd be interested if Mr. Fincher wasn't involved. But I actually prefer it to Citizen Kane because I really like how it follows Mank and shows his psychology as a writer. I like how it's set in black and white because Eric Messerschmidt's award-winning cinematography is just spot on. But what also drew me to this movie was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's score that really gave this classical vibe. Gary probably gave his best performance since playing Churchill, but who really stole the show, even though she was more eye candy than anybody. Miss Amanda Seyfried. Oh, and Charles Dance because he's just a legend and he stole the show as well as Gary and Amanda are too. So you got some
Yeah,
fine
no,
acting, fine visuals, an interesting story, and I just think Mank is an overall great movie.
I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, this is an honorable mention for me. Nominated for 10 Academy Awards, won 2 for cinematography and production design, which production design is phenomenal. Again, this
Yeah.
is for Mank. They did have some like practical living situations, but they're sets. They built a lot of sets. They're on lots. It's beautiful. The sound design that they did was so unique because they made it sound like they're in a stage, like hollow, like an echo, even though they were outside. Like they still wanted it to sound real and old timey. And I'd have to agree. I do prefer it to Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
um, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Amanda Seyfried, she's gorgeous in the movie, as always. And yeah, she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, even though she had 10 minutes of screen time. So, brava, brava. I really like this movie a lot. It's beautiful. It's about Hollywood. So they did a damn good job there. And it came out kind of earlier in the year, and it still stuck around.
We didn't get it till December, though.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a Best Picture winner. I don't even think this film needs an introduction. It's The Artist.
Yeah, well, tell me about it.
The Artist is about the silent era of Hollywood and focuses on this actor played by John Duran, who is this. He's like the Daniel Day-Lewis of his time. He's the biggest star in the world. He's the Leo of his generation. But there was a change in the system because they developed sound for movies, so people were talking more, and he was worried that his career was going to slide down because they weren't going to do many silent movies. And it's about him trying to build up his career, trying to launch back his career and launch back silent movies. This film, I thought when I first watched it was going to be completely overrated, but I've seen it twice, and each time I just love it, and I'm going to love it more every single watch. Plus, you've also got the woman in it, and you also have John Goodman, who's great, James Cromwell, Malcolm McDowell, Penelope Ann Miller. You got some great actors in here, and it just makes for a fantastic film. I don't really know much about the director, but judging by this film, he must be a great director because how well this film stood out. So my number 3 is The Artist.
Well, it's my number 2.
Don't tell me your number 3 is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
My number 2 is The Artist. Berenice Bejo is so freaking wonderful.
That's her
in
name.
This movie.
That's her
yes.
name. She is fantastic.
And so is Jean Desjardins and John Goodman. I didn't see this movie until the 2020 year.
Yes, because you recommended it to me.
And it immediately went into my top 15 movies of all time. Like, it's so freaking beautiful.
It immediately became my favorite film of 2011.
Yeah, I actually had not seen that movie, even though it won Best Picture until 2020. So it took me a while. I was mad that it was black and white. I was mad that it was about Hollywood, and that it beat out, whoever it beat out that year. And I was just kind of bitter against it. But then once I saw it, obviously we know why it won Best Picture, because it is brilliant. The
and
chemistry between the two. Yes, very unique. I mean, it's an old school silent film. There's no talking in it. It's black and white. There's a dog who's a star in it, which is fun. But it's also beautifully written, tons of fun, so charismatic, and the fact that it's about Hollywood and in the backdrop of the silent era, and still be engaging for the hour and 40 minutes and win Best Picture is remarkable. Obviously, this is a picture that is one of the biggest feats out there, and it's deserved of its Best Picture win for sure. My number 2 is The Artist. I want to just keep talking about it, but
we got 10 movies to talk about. What's your number 3 then?
My number 3, you said it, is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that's perfect. It's my 2, and I would love to talk about this movie with you because I absolutely love this movie. This is the high mark of a mix between live action and animation, isn't it?
It sure is.
Nothing can beat this movie.
I completely agree. I mean, as a kid, I watched it so many times. I'm a huge, I love Zemeckis. I think he's great, especially for family movies and kids movies. I think he does really well.
And Back to the Future.
Well, yes, which I consider sort of like a kids movie because I grew up watching it.
Oh,
But
in a way, yeah.
But yes, you have the two different things here. You have the animation, you have the live action. Yeah, and it's tunes taken over. We see a lot of backlots here. We see sets and we see actual like TV shows being made because that first sketch is so great with the baby.
And we have the legend himself, Mr. Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, so Bob Hoskins is in this. Christopher Lloyd is in this. Joanna Cassidy, actually, I worked at her house once, which was really, really special.
I am so jealous. She's awesome.
Yeah, she still looks stunning. But I just really, this movie is a lot of fun. You know, what we have here is Christopher Lloyd's trying to get rid of all the tunes, and he has this this green bath, you know, this acid that will murder all the tunes. Yes, the dip. But Roger Rabbit was so beautifully drawn and vocalized, you know.
And the fact that he was a completely original character and not one of the Looney Tunes or the Mickey Mouse gang.
Yes, absolutely. And he became beloved by everybody. You know, they sold toys and shirts. And then also, maybe I had my first crush on Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica is up there in my favorite, even the fittest animated girls ever.
It's so crazy how they drew her, but boy, did they do a really good job.
I love it when she sings a song when she's introduced.
Yeah, and you get to see Betty Boop in there. I mean, it's just they brought in all the characters that we know and love, plus made a new one, and then
can we talk about the iconic scene with Buzz and Mickey, because that scene is iconic.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just an iconic scene because of how big icons Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse are, and to have them in the same room with Bob Hoskins, who was like the biggest actor in Britain at the time, it's just a standout theme.
Yeah, it's just super, super smart. You know, like when he's trying to hide Roger in the dishes, and he, you know, they have the handcuffs on, but obviously he's a cartoon. He's able to get his hand out, and Bob Hoskins flips out on him. I mean, it is so well done, and he's acting to nothing. It's a green screen. It's nobody. I mean, he's still acting his balls off, and it shows that it seems so real. That's how good of an actor he is. Plus, there's a lot of like sexual innuendos in this, and like maybe it's a little bit more than a PG sort of movie at times. But it is so fun, so funny.
But it's just one of them movies it's easy to just turn on, do your own thing, and just chill out.
Oh yeah.
And always enjoy it whenever you're like glancing at the screen.
Always. Yeah, this is one of my top favorite movies of all time. Definitely top 2025. So
the way it works out, it's probably in my top 100 of all time.
It's a beautiful, beautiful film, and yeah, as a kid,
and it's a cinematic masterpiece as well.
Agreed. Let's see, Academy Awards: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 awards nominations. They won for editing, sound effects, visual effects, and a special achievement award to Richard Williams, which is weird.
But yes, he helped with the animations. He's one of the greatest animators of all time.
Gotcha. And that makes sense.
Yes, and I'm just going to Google what Fleming Awards it won as well, because I've given it a lot of Fleming Awards, this film. It didn't win Best Film because I like Cinema Paradiso, the Italian film, just a tiny bit more. But this is second, but the other films of 2018 are ones by a mile.
1988.
Yes, 1988.
The budget was $70 million, and it grossed $330 million.
$30 million, and I bet if it came out now, it would probably be the highest-grossing movie of all time. It's that good.
I would agree, except people they would have to say Marvel's Who Framed Roger Rabbit for that to happen.
Yes. So for my Fleming Awards, which is my version of the Oscars, it won Best Supporting Actress, Joanna Cassidy, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Production Design, and Best Visual and Special Effects.
As it should.
You agree with all of them choices?
I sure do. Yeah, Joanna Cassidy definitely deserves it.
Sound. If you meet her again, will you let her know she's won the Fleming Award for it?
You got it, buddy.
Sound. And on that note, can I tell you my number one?
Please do.
Right, so my number one, as I said, would not be a film you expect. This movie is quite similar to Sunset Boulevard and really focuses on the psychological side of Hollywood. But it's one of the weirdest, bizarre, and unique films I've ever seen in my life. This is made by a man called David Lynch and stars Naomi Watts, Laura Harring, and Justin Theroux. I'm talking about 2001's Mulholland Drive.
Yes, obviously came up in the research. Yeah, tell me about Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive is a street in LA.
Yes, I've driven past it. Well, I wasn't driving, my mum was, but we drove past it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me all about it.
So Naomi Watts is playing this young actress who is just walked out of town. She meets this woman with amnesia he's just survived an assassination and has no clue what she is, and they're trying to work out what happened to her. And there's a lot of other vignettes. Justin Theroux is playing this struggling director whose wife is cheating on him with Billy Ray Cyrus. He says the best line in this movie, actually. And you set to see, obviously, that he's being threatened by gangsters to hire actresses. And then you also see these weird hallucinations. Well, David Lynch is one of the weirdest directors, one of the best directors to use surrealism, and I think he's made his masterpiece. You have to go in blind when you watch this movie. That's just a rule. If you even see one single scene before seeing the movie, the movie is completely ruined for you. You have to go in blind, not knowing a single thing about this movie. Because after 2.5 hours, your mind will be blown. And I do not want to give any twists away. Just watch Mulholland Drive. That's my number one. Have you ever Drive, Justin?
I have, yeah.
And was your mind completely blown afterwards?
Maybe, but maybe not as much as everybody else. I think, because you're not the only one who said this, and I believe this is on a lot of other people's top 5 movies as well about Hollywood. Shush. It's really, really good. There's a lesbian scene in it. So that was one of the first times I've seen that growing up. But no, this is a great film. Really, crazy twists. I guess it was supposed to be a television pilot, and they turned it into a feature.
Yes, it's meant to be a spin-off to Twin Peaks.
Yeah, this is sort of like a dark neo-noir mystery film, and it's a lot of fun. It's not fun in a good way, but fun, an interesting movie. I mean,
and it gives you an entertaining viewing experience.
Yep, and I love the coloring in it. The way that they light the scenes in this movie is really noticeable. Let's see what kind of claims that it got. Yeah.
And you got just one Oscar nomination
for Best Director. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture in a Drama. So it did okay, but yeah, this is really good, really smart movie. And
I wish Naomi Watts got a nomination for her performance.
But I think that you're right. This is one of David Lynch's biggest masterpieces for sure. So that's a great number one.
Well, he doesn't really direct anymore, so I think he's learned to stop while he's ahead.
Yes, that's smart of him. What was his last?
Inland Empire, which I plan to watch last out of his movies.
What?
I don't know
what. Empire.
I just plan to watch that last when I've seen every Lynch movie.
Man, I've only seen Dune and Mulholland Drive.
You should check out Blue Velvet. That's a really good one.
Dang, Yeah, and Eraserhead, right?
Eraserhead's
Oh,
okay. It's better than Dune.
I've seen The Elephant Man,
I need to see The Elephant Man.
or at least as a kid, I remember this. Maybe I should give that a look. But yeah, Anthony Hopkins. Wow. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, great number one.
I don't think
I know.
your number one needs an introduction.
Well, if anybody knows me at all, they would know what my number one would be.
I think this is
Uh,
my favorite movie ever as well.
well, it's in my top five all time favorite movies. Yeah, so this movie came out in 2019,
Yeah,
and immediately became one of my top five all time favorite movies. I saw
yeah.
it 10 times in the movie theater. It is directed by a director who I'm fine with. You know, I'm not like I need to go see all of his movies, even though I've seen all of his movies. But this is my favorite film that he's made. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It is definitely the best movie that is about Hollywood, and it's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Which
We
is in my
have,
honorable mentions.
I'm surprised it's not in your top five, but we have Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie,
Yeah.
directed by Quentin Tarantino, and it's Tarantino's sort of take on what would have happened if um, the killer, what's his name,
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. What if his guys didn't go and kill Sharon Tate? Instead, they had to go face to face with Cliff and Rick.
Yeah.
And
Which is
we had
the movie. Come on.
well, okay. If that's true, then the best parts of the movie lead up to the best parts of the movie. So every part of the movie is amazing. So
Even though like the movie is just basically a slice of life about living in Hollywood in the 60s.
Yep, and it's about just so Rick Dalton is this, sort of heavy. He's always in these shows. He's always the heavy in them,
Yes.
and Cliff is his stuntman,
Who
played
is
by Brad
the
Pitt.
best thing about this movie?
Only won Best Supporting Actor. He swept
Finally.
all the awards for supporting actor for this movie.
In my
Yeah,
opinion, Brad
Margot
Pitt should have won at least 5 Oscars by now. He's only won 2.
5, huh? Well, the other one he won for is 12 Years a Slave. He didn't
Yes,
even win for
producing.
acting. Yeah. But anyway, I can just talk about this movie forever, and I can talk about it for longer than it is, which is like
Have
two
you
and a half
seen the
hours.
movie that she goes to see in the cinema? So I would like to see
The
that.
Wrecking Ball or the Wrecking Crew. I have not seen that. Uh, this movie is it's. I talk about this a lot. There's movies where you just kind of want to live in that time frame, in that era for
Yes,
a little
like me
bit.
with The Great Gatsby.
Yes, exactly. And I totally want to live in this era, smoke cigarettes and drink and act and be drunk while you're acting, and have, Hollywood Hills parties.
Can we just talk about the other best thing about this movie? The soundtrack. The fact that
Yes,
it's not just Beatles and Rolling Stones all the time, it's just hidden gems from the 60s that are just absolute banger after banger after banger.
yes, that is completely true. I actually have it on vinyl, and
I
if
have
you
it on
start,
CD. I have it on CD. I love the CD. I sometimes listen to it in my car and I think I'm in Hollywood.
yeah, there's songs from Paul Revere and the Raiders, Mamas and the Papas.
You forgot
If you
Mrs.
put
Robinson, which is such a great song.
Yes. If you put the vinyl on, I don't know if the CD is the same. I don't see why it wouldn't be. But if you put it on at the same time that you start the movie, the entire thing will play through the entire film. So that's pretty
Oh.
great. But yeah, this movie is just, I can talk about it forever. Won Best Supporting Actor. See what other accolades it had here. I love the
I
scene
do
where,
also have this movie on Blu-ray as well, which
yeah.
actually is really good on my TV. Because I like to sometimes put this film on, just chill out.
Yeah, I have it on I have it on digital streaming over here.
Nice.
Let's see. It won for, or it received
It's
10
also the only
nominations.
Tarantino movie I've ever seen in cinema.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The American Film Institute included it as top 10 of 2019, which is great. It was just lots of nominations, but yeah, it won for Best Supporting Actor. Yeah, fantastic film. I mean, I love it. I have posters of it. My
Yes.
first Worth Review movies is in front of the posters.
Yes.
I have shirts. I dressed up as Cliff. At the Academy Museum, they have Cliff in the Cliff outfit with the jeans and his moccasins and his yellow shirt with the champion on it. So great.
Well, at least you give me a place to go next time I go on holiday to LA.
Well, yeah. By then, some things will definitely change around because I think every 6 months they change. A little bit here and a little bit there.
No, that doesn't matter. The experience while you're there is the most important part.
Yes, it is. We all-star cast as well. Al Pacino's in it. Luke Perry with his last film. Bruce Dern, Dakota Fanning. You have Margaret Qualley, who's blowing up right now.
Yes.
Emil Hirsch is in this. Timothy Oliphant.
Damian Lewis. Don't forget about Damian Lewis.
Yeah, Damian Lewis.
He was brilliant as Steve McQueen. I'll give him that.
Yeah, totally. And there's that blonde girl who was a part of Sydney Sweeney. She was a part of
another actor who is also known to blow up because he's going to play Elvis, Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. Oh, he was Tex. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Semi-weird to see him as Elvis, but I think he'll do a good performance for some reason.
Well, I think he's great as Tex. I think he's really sort of scary.
He's like a young Adam Driver. He's like a young Adam Driver.
Yeah, I think he's really good. What's that line he says at the end? I forget.
That Uma Thurman's daughter's in this as well. Maya Hawke, she's the one that leaves them when she drives off.
Maya Hawke?
Yeah, Maya Hawke, Ethan and Uma Thurman's daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's in the show Stranger Things I watch her in.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. This movie is just amazing. Budget was $90 million and it grossed $375 million, which is probably one of the biggest is that the most that Quentin Tarantino's ever made in a movie?
Yes, it's the only one he's done. I think it's his only mainstream film as well, actually, because most of his films are indie films.
Well, I think Inglourious Basterds is big. $321 million. So they're neck and neck.
So it's just Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction you really call indie films?
Jackie Brown?
And Jackie Brown, obviously.
Yeah.
Just his first.
Django. Let's see what Django did. Django, I love Django.
Oh, I love Django. That's my second favorite Tarantino film.
Me too. Whoa, $426 million. So that's the biggest. Django Unchained is the biggest for sure. $100 million and it grossed $426 million. That's its biggest.
Yeah, it was nice to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in the cinema. It was nice to see a movie that was more original rather than just a Marvel movie.
Tell me about it. Yeah, Hateful Eight. We don't even need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hateful Eight. Do you want to count them down?
Let's do it because ours was kind of all over the place, and because we, let's do it.
My number 5 is La La Land.
My number 5 is Sunset Boulevard.
My number 4 is Mank.
My number 4 is La La Land.
My number 3 is The Artist.
My number 3 is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
My number 2 is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
My number 2 is The Artist.
But we don't match up on this one. My number 1 is Mulholland Drive.
And my number 1 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
which is one of my
Even if
honorable mentions, along with Singing in the Rain, Sunset Boulevard, Barton Fink, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
yeah, so Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is great. Well, Get Shorty is great. Swimming with Sharks I put in there. Tropic Thunder, it's a movie about making movies. It's not really
I
about
forgot about
Hollywood.
Tropic Thunder because it didn't really say it when I looked on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, well, it's still a movie about making movies. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily
I
Hollywood.
didn't really put the Disaster Artist on there either, even though I love that movie.
Well, that could work.
Even though it's all about them making a bad movie.
I wanted to put in the Good Guys in there, but that one's again not about Hollywood. It's just a movie set in LA. But definitely Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Maps to the Stars is really
I need
interesting.
to see that one.
Yeah.
I like David Cronenberg.
Really, really good. Even though it's not a good movie, Scream 3 is
Yes, I was tempted to put that as a nomination.
Yeah. Bowfinger, even though again it's not a good movie, but it's fun.
I only really like it because Eddie Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. are in it. That's literally the only reason why you need to check out Bowfinger.
Yeah, there's not a lot to that movie. Yeah, and then that's it. Hail Caesar's fine.
I'm not big on
really good. Yeah, it's fine. Seberg's really good with Kristen Stewart about Jane Seberg.
You know who does need to make a movie about Hollywood? Wes Anderson.
Oh, I was like, he did. No, but Paul Thomas Anderson did with Licorice Pizza.
And Boogie Nights in a way, just the wrong side of Hollywood.
Yes. Wes Anderson, huh?
Because he's good at production designs and stuff.
Yeah.
I just have a lots of ideas for Wes Anderson films.
Let's see. I haven't seen this movie, but this came up on my research was The Stuntman.
Ooh,
I've heard good things about that. Yeah, okay. I think we did it.
Yeah, and we've had a good list. Good list. I'm going to cheat on the film recommendation, so I want to recommend two.
All right. You can have my rec.
I recommend Nightmare Alley, if you love Del Toro.
I also recommend that.
Yes, even though I still love The Shape of Water, Nightmare Alley is definitely in his top 3. It just gets better as it goes along.
Yes, it does.
And Bradley Cooper probably gives off one of his best performances.
I agree. It's really, really good.
Like he transformed himself into the character rather just play Bradley Cooper. And Rooney Mara was my surprising favourite out of the cast as well.
Yeah, I really liked her gimmick. I liked what
I felt like the other cast didn't have as much long as they made it out they did.
Sure. Yeah, that's my favorite movie of the year. Cody and I just did our top 10s of the year, and Nightmare Alley was my number one.
And me and Cody also did a video on The Shape of Water as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be joining him again over the weekend to talk about The French Dispatch.
Oh, boo.
You need to give it a second chance.
I don't know.
It took me ages to get into The Godfather.
Out of the 3 movies that are big that I just didn't care for this year, Belfast, Licorice Pizza, and French Dispatch, I rather watch...
because that's my other recommendation, Belfast. I think it's just because I'm British, but I love this movie. I was surprised at how entertaining it was. But I do agree with what you said. It did lack cigarette smoking.
Well, if you're gonna go all the way and try to be as real as possible, be real. But the production design in that movie is fantastic, and so is the acting because Catron Balfour and Ciarán Hinds are amazing.
They were all five of them were fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know why Jamie Dornan is getting so much praise, but
I'd
good for him.
I'd say he was out of the five the weakest, but he was still fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. He was
And I
the
love
weakest out of the
Judi
five.
Dench with her one-liners. She's just I would just love her to be my grandma.
She's can do no wrong. She's like Meryl.
Yeah, she is the British Meryl.
Or Meryl is the American Judy.
Ooh. They're both as good as each other.
They're both really good. Sweet. All right. What are we doing next time?
Oh, I've been juggling around with ideas, but I was thinking because we haven't done an actor one for a while. Do you want to do top 5 Tom Cruise performances?
Performances or movies?
We'll mix up and go both. Like we've got to like the movie and like the performance.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, he's a hit or miss sort of actor. I mean, he
100%,
definitely tries his
100%.
hardest.
But the performances he's given in the past are phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be fun. I love Tom Cruise. I really am. Mission Impossible got pushed back another year.
I'm
Maverick
obsessed
is.
as well. I'm also gutted because I was meant to go to a gig, but it's been pushed back for another year.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm still hoping Maverick stays where it's supposed to be in March, but we'll see.
I'm hoping to take my mum to see that because she loves Top Gun.
Well, it's just with these things getting pushed back, it's like now it's going to be even some. So we'll get Maverick, and then we'll get Mission Impossible. But then he's taking all this time to do these two and have them come out. When is he filming the next ones?
The ironic thing is that everything's opening up next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, obviously because the Prime Minister's been caught in that scandal, I just think he's just probably thinking I best abolish all stuff because I'm a hypocrite.
What kind of scandal?
He was caught having a garden party during lockdown.
Oh my gosh. How many people were there?
I don't know, but I don't think
Hundreds?
they were social distancing. They probably shook hands and kissed.
Oh, come on, Prime Minister. Well, good. At least he knows that he did wrong and he needs to make it right.
Yes, he does. He does. But I don't care for politics. I just want to watch movies.
Hell yeah. Let's watch movies about politics and get the true stories.
Because they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Come on, Vice, don't look up. They're both hilarious. That's what politics should be. Just one big comedy act.
I'm in. Okay. Well, sounds good. I got to go watch a Sundance film.
Oh, nice.
So,
how is Sundance?
It's going good. So I didn't do this on purpose, but I chose a movie that is female led, every single one, on accident. And I mean, they all sounded good to me, which is why I chose them. But yeah, and then 80% of them are female directed. So it's a big year for Sundance and females, which is great.
Of all the female-led movies I'm looking forward to this year, it's Olivia Wilde's second movie because after Booksmart, I can picture her to make a masterpiece with Don't Worry, Darling. Plus, Florence Pugh and Harry Styles are in it, and they're my two go-tos at the moment because of how good they are.
Yeah, Florence Pugh is definitely the woman of the hour. She's the hottest ticket out right now.
And obviously Harry Styles with Eternals, Dunkirk, and his singing career. I think his career is only going upwards, isn't it?
Yeah, I just watched Eternals and saw a little Harry there. I like him in Dunkirk as well. So, well, we were talking about women led. Oh yeah, so the movie that I'm watching today is called Summering, and it's directed. Who's a male, but it's directed by the guy who did The Spectacular Now, with what's her name? Insurgent.
Shailene Woodley.
Shailene Woodley, yes.
That's her name.
Yeah. So it's all female cast too. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited. I'm saying the all female stuff as a good thing. I'm saying
Yeah. Well,
doesn't.
Promising Young Woman was female directed and female led, and that was a masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm saying this is good. That there's lots of movies out there that are being, directed by females.
I'm assuming there's other good movies that are female led and female directed than Promising Young Woman.
Nah. What about Zero Dark 30?
Zero Dark 30's great.
Let's see what else. Female. Well, the Booksmart. You just said Booksmart.
Yeah, Booksmart.
All time.
Lady Bird.
Lady Bird. Yeah. Little Women.
Does Jumping Jack Flash count?
Yes. Sure does.
That's probably one of the first movies to do that. Well, mainstream wise.
The Farewell. That's directed and female led.
Is that the Aquafina one?
Yeah. Clemency, that came out a couple of years ago, was really good with Alfred Woodward. Hustlers.
I need to give that a second chance. I like Nomadland. It's overrated, but it's still good.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was one of my favorite movies of that year.
That's quite nice to watch.
Yeah, there's so many others. But yes. Cool. All right. Well, let us know what your guys' favorite movies are that are made about Hollywood. Is Who Framed Roger Rabbit in your list? Is Once Upon a Time in your list? Let us know.
Is Mulholland Drive in your list?
Obviously, Rob and I think the same, where we had 3 of the same movies in our list.
Yeah, and it was quite cool.
It was really cool. But then, yeah, we both had some bangers in there as well. So let us know what your favorites are. Let us know if you want us to talk about any other topic. I guess we're going to be doing top 5 Tom Cruise movies next week. And, yeah, that sounds good. All
right. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to this, thank you for watching this. If you're watching it, make sure to check me out, Robbie's Reviews, my YouTube channel, which you're probably watching this on, and also follow me Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out Justin on Worth the View Movies.
That's right, and also check out the Video Rejects, because we love and I both. We love Cody, but we also are on their shows, especially recently. Cody loves talking directors, and we just talked about our top 10 favorite movies. Did you watch that yet, Rob?
I watched the ending.
So you saw what his number 1 was?
Yes, I haven't seen.
Pretty crazy, right? It's a good movie.
I will check it out for Cody.
Yes, check it out for Cody. And I just watched it this week again and really loved it. So it was. Nice. I mean, it was my number 6. Obviously, I love it too.
It sounds like a genuinely good movie. Anyway.
Yes, it was really good. Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Until next time. Bye, bye, Justin. Bye, Rob.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.